The marketplace of New Terra glowed under the soft blue lights of alien suns. Humans and dozens of alien species walked together through floating stalls that sold food, parts, and strange glowing liquids. It was one of the few places in the galaxy where humans and aliens traded without fear or rules. Dr. Aaron Miles, a human scientist, was there to buy rare materials for his experiments. He worked for the Galactic Medical Alliance, an organization that built medical technology for different species. Aaron was calm, focused, and used to strange sights. But that day, something unexpected happened. As he paid for a pack of nutrient capsules, a small hand darted from behind him, quick and desperate. Before Aaron could react, the capsules were gone. He turned around sharply and saw a thin, trembling alien child running through the crowd. The child's body was covered in grayish skin with faint blue veins that glowed under the lights. His clothes were torn, his steps weak, but his speed came from hunger and fear. Aaron shouted, "Hey, stop!" But the child didn't stop. For a moment, Aaron thought to let it go. It was just food. But then he saw the child stumble, almost falling, and something about that small, fragile figure pulled at his heart. His scientist's mind turned quiet, replaced by human curiosity and concern. He followed. Through the narrow alleys between metal buildings, Aaron chased the child. The smell of burnt wires and dust filled the air. The streets were silent here. Even the bright market noises faded behind him. The child looked back once, eyes wide, full of fear and guilt. They were large silver eyes that reflected pain more than mischief. Aaron slowed down, not wanting to scare him more. "Hey kid," he said softly. "I won't hurt you. I just want to talk." But the alien child only ran faster, disappearing into a broken tunnel near the city's edge. Aaron hesitated for a moment. The tunnel led toward the outer zone, an abandoned area filled with old mining machines and empty shelters. Few people went there. It was dangerous and forgotten. Still, Aaron couldn't turn back. He crawled through the tunnel. The air was cold and heavy, carrying a faint mechanical hum. Light flickered from his wrist device as he stepped deeper. Then he heard a soft sound, a cough. Not a machine's hiss, but a living, painful cough. He followed it until he reached a small open space under the metal ruins. There, under a piece of old tarp, he saw the alien child kneeling beside a woman. The woman was older, her skin pale and dim, her breathing weak. Her thin arms trembled as she tried to touch the child's face. The child was trying to feed her the capsules he stole. Aaron stood silently, watching the scene unfold. The woman looked half-conscious, whispering something in a language he didn't understand. But the tone was clear. It was love, the kind of love that exists even in the darkest places. Aaron's heart tightened. He could leave. He could call the local patrols and walk away. But something inside him whispered otherwise. He remembered the look in the child's eyes, fear mixed with desperation. He stepped closer and said gently, "It's okay. I won't take it back." The child turned quickly, protecting the woman with his small body. "Go away," he cried in broken galactic common. "She needs food. Please, no hurt." Aaron raised his hands. "I won't hurt her. I can help." The child looked unsure. His tiny chest rose and fell quickly, his voice shaking. "You human? Humans don't help us." Aaron's expression softened. "Maybe some don't, but I'm not some." There was silence. The only sound was the weak breathing of the woman. Finally, the child lowered his guard just a little, his eyes full of tears. Aaron knelt beside them and scanned the woman with his wrist device. Her pulse was faint. Her oxygen levels were dropping fast. Her lungs were damaged. Badly. "Her lungs," Aaron whispered. "They're failing." He looked around the dark tunnel, the cold air, the dust, and understood why the child had stolen. They were both dying, not from hunger alone, but from air they couldn't breathe. As Aaron looked into the child's silver eyes again, a quiet decision formed inside him. He would help them. No matter the law, no matter the risk, because for the first time in years he felt something more powerful than science, humanity. Aaron stared at the weak alien woman lying on the cold metal floor. Her breathing came in short, painful gasps. The air in the tunnel felt heavy, almost toxic. The child watched Aaron with wide, fearful eyes, clutching his mother's hand like he was her only shield against the world. Aaron spoke softly. "She needs air." "Clean air," the child's voice broke. "No, air bad here. We hide, they chase us." Aaron frowned. "Who chases you?" The boy hesitated, eyes darting toward the shadows. Guards, humans, they say. We not allowed here. Aaron's stomach tightened. The Galactic Council had strict migration laws. Some alien species weren't allowed to live in human colonies unless they had permission or special breathing systems. This child and his mother were refugees, running from law, not from crime. He sighed deeply. If we stay here, she'll die. The boy's lip trembled. You help? Not tell guards? Aaron nodded slowly. I promise. He lifted the woman carefully. She was light, almost weightless. Her skin felt cold and dry like paper. The boy followed silently as Aaron carried her through the tunnel, back toward the edge of the market district. The streets were quieter now. The night shift lights painted everything in blue and silver. Aaron brought them into his small laboratory, hidden behind a repair shop. He laid the woman on a diagnostic bed and activated the medical scanners. The boy stood close, watching every move, ready to protect his mother if needed. Data streamed across the screens. Aaron frowned. The results were shocking. Her lungs weren't like human lungs. They had a delicate crystal structure that absorbed certain gases. Oxygen was harmful to her kind. That explained the slow poisoning. She's from the Andril species, Aaron murmured. Their planet's air is rich in argon, not oxygen. No wonder she's dying. The boy didn't understand, but he could see Aaron's serious face. She die? He whispered. Aaron looked at him. Not if I can help her. He moved quickly, mixing gases, adjusting filters, and connecting tubes to the lab's life support chamber. The hiss of air filled the room. Soon the woman's chest rose more evenly. Her face relaxed a little. The boy stared, eyes full of tears. She breathing better? Aaron smiled slightly. Yes, but it's temporary. She needs new lungs, ones that can survive here. The boy's expression twisted with confusion. New lungs? Aaron nodded. Artificial ones. I build them, but it's not easy. He looked at his old equipment. Most of his tools were outdated, banned for private use without a council permit. If the authorities found out he was helping an unregistered alien, he could lose his license or worse, be imprisoned. But the image of that starving child giving stolen food to his dying mother wouldn't leave his mind. He sighed. I'll do it anyway. The boy tilted his head. Why help us? You don't know us. Aaron looked at him quietly. Because someone once helped me when I had nothing. Maybe it's time I do the same. The boy lowered his eyes. My name is Lior. Aaron smiled. Nice to meet you, Lior. What's her name? Mother's name is Serene. Aaron entered the data into his system. All right, Lior, let's save Serene. Hours passed. Machines hummed. Aaron designed a new lung prototype, half biological, half mechanical. It would convert oxygen into the argon mixture Serene's species needed. But he lacked the right microfabricator. His old one couldn't handle organic tissue printing. He rubbed his forehead, thinking fast. There's one in the upper lab sector, he said, but only council researchers can use it. Lior's eyes widened. Then we can't? Aaron smiled faintly. Who said that? He grabbed his coat and a small portable drive. Stay with your mother. Lock the door! Don't open it for anyone. Lior nodded but held Aaron's sleeve for a moment. Please come back, Aaron nodded. I will. He stepped into the night, pulling up his hood. The streets of New Terra were quiet, patrolled by floating drones. His ID chip might not pass the scanners if he accessed the restricted zone, but he had once worked for the Alliance. He still remembered old codes, secret paths, and faces that owed him favors. As he moved through the neon mist, he felt a strange energy inside him. For years he had worked only for science, numbers, and results. Now, for the first time, he was fighting for life, real life. He looked up at the glowing towers of the upper labs and whispered to himself, for that boy, for his mother, I'll break any law. The night sky over New Terra shimmered with thousands of floating lights. Drones glided like silent stars, scanning the city below. Between their patrol routes, Aaron Miles walked quickly through the narrow streets, his hood low, his steps careful. He was no longer just a scientist tonight. He was a man breaking the law to save 2 lives. The upper lab sector stood high above the rest of the colony, protected by guards, scanners, and walls that glowed faint blue with security shields. The place looked like a temple made of glass and metal. Inside those walls were machines that could create miracles. Or weapons. And Aaron needed one of those miracles. A biofabricator, powerful enough to build living tissue. He approached a maintenance gate hidden behind a row of delivery pods. The gate had an old code panel, one he remembered from years ago when he worked for the Galactic Medical Alliance. Aaron whispered, "Let's hope they never change this." He typed in a sequence, 4 digits, pause, 3 letters. The panel blinked red, then green. The door slid open with a soft hiss. Inside, the corridor was dark, humming with energy. The air smelled of sterilized metal and ozone. He moved like a shadow, following the sound of machines working far away. His wrist scanner blinked softly, guiding him toward the restricted zone. As he turned a corner, a security drone floated out from a side hall. Aaron froze. The drone's red lens scanned the air, searching for movement. Aaron pressed himself against the wall, holding his breath. His heart pounded so loudly he thought the machine might hear it. After a few seconds, the drone turned away and drifted down another path. He exhaled slowly. "Still got it," he whispered. Finally, he reached the fabrication chamber, a vast room filled with glowing tanks, robotic arms, and a central printer surrounded by blue light. The biofabricator stood like a throne, humming with quiet power. It could print bones, skin, and organs from digital blueprints, but only council scientists were allowed to use it. Unauthorized access meant prison, or worse. Aaron connected his portable drive to the main console. His fingers moved quickly, uploading the design he had created for Serene's artificial lungs. Lungs that could filter oxygen and produce argon gas. It was risky, experimental, and totally illegal. The machine began to work, its robotic arms moving gracefully layer by layer. A faint, glowing mist filled the chamber as the structure of the lung started forming inside the transparent pod. Aaron watched in awe. His design was becoming real. But then, a sharp beep broke the silence. He turned toward the console. "Unauthorized user detected." Red lights flashed across the room. "Damn it," Aaron muttered. He tried to override the alarm, but the system locked him out. Footsteps echoed down the hall. Heavy boots. Multiple guards. He had only minutes. Aaron grabbed the half-finished lung model from the printer. It was still warm and fragile, and placed it inside a containment case. Then he pulled his drive out and sprinted toward the maintenance exit. Voices shouted behind him. "Stop right there!" Laser lights swept across the hallway. Aaron ducked as a stun beam hit the wall beside him, leaving a smoking scar. He ran faster, turning corners, heart pounding in his ears. He reached the outer door and slammed the code again. This time, the panel blinked red twice before opening. The guards were close. He rushed through, sealing it behind him just in time. Outside, cold night air hit his face. He ran through the alleyways until the glowing towers disappeared behind him. When he finally stopped, gasping for breath, he looked down at the containment case in his hands. The artificial lung glowed faintly like a living crystal. He smiled weakly. "I got it." Hours later, back in his lab, Lior ran to him. "You came back," the boy said, eyes wide. Aaron nodded, setting the case on the table. "Barely, but yes." Serene still lay on the medical bed, breathing faintly inside the life support chamber. The glow from her body had dimmed. Aaron's heart sank. She didn't have much time left. He looked at the fragile lung, then at the dying woman. "This has to work." Lior grabbed his hand. "Please save her." Aaron smiled softly. "I'll do everything I can." He began the procedure, connecting wires and scanners. The artificial organ pulsed gently, adjusting to the readings. Aaron's hands moved fast but steady. Sweat ran down his forehead as he watched the monitors. Serene's body twitched once, then again. The readings began to rise, oxygen levels stabilizing, pulse stronger. Lior gasped, tears streaming down his face. "She's breathing! She's breathing!" Aaron exhaled in relief, smiling for the first time in years. "She's not out of danger yet, but she's alive." Outside, unnoticed, a small black drone hovered near the window and recording everything. A red light blinked on its lens before it flew away into the night. Someone now knew what Aaron had done. The morning sky above New Terra was pale silver, filled with the hum of drones and airships. Inside his hidden lab, Dr. Aaron Miles sat beside the recovery chamber, his eyes fixed on the woman inside. Serene, the alien mother, was breathing smoothly now. Her new artificial lungs glowed faintly under her ribs, part metal, part living tissue. Aaron's design had worked. For the first time in days, her skin had regained a soft, warm color instead of that cold gray. Beside her, little Lior slept curled up in a chair, his small hands holding his mother's scarf. His face looked peaceful. No fear, no hunger, only relief. Aaron smiled quietly. "You did it," he whispered to himself. "You saved them." But even as those words left his mouth, a sharp unease pressed at the back of his mind. He remembered the flashing red lights, the alarms, and the sound of boots chasing him through the lab corridors. He had escaped. But not unnoticed. He rubbed his eyes and turned to his console. The screen flashed. Access log breach detected. User activity flagged for investigation. His stomach sank. They traced me. He looked toward the sleeping child and the recovering mother. He had risked his career, his freedom, maybe even his life, to save them. And now the Galactic Council might be coming. Hours later, Serene opened her eyes for the first time. Her voice was soft and weak, but it carried a strange musical rhythm. "Where am I?" Aaron smiled gently. "You're safe. You're in my lab. I'm Dr. Aaron Miles." Serene looked at him confused. "You're human?" He nodded. "Yes, but don't worry. You're not in danger anymore." She turned her gaze toward Lior and smiled faintly. "My boy, he found you?" Aaron chuckled. "More like he found my food first." Serene tried to laugh but coughed lightly, still weak. Aaron adjusted the chamber's air pressure. "Don't try to speak too much. Your body is still adapting." Her silver eyes softened. "You helped us, even when your laws said no." Aaron shrugged. Sometimes laws forget what they're made for. Suddenly, the building's alarm buzzed softly, a quiet warning tone from the security system. Aaron turned to the monitor. Outside, a hover patrol had landed. 2 armored officers were scanning nearby buildings. His heart jumped. No, they're here already. He rushed to the control panel and switched off the lab lights. The room went dark, only the glow of the machines remained. Lior woke up frightened. "What's happening?" Aaron whispered. "Quiet. Stay near your mother." The monitor zoomed in. One of the officers held a scanner device, the same kind used to detect illegal technology. The red beam moved slowly across the street, then stopped directly in front of Aaron's building. "Damn," Aaron hissed. "They found the energy signature." He moved quickly, pulling a heavy metal curtain over the window. He turned to Serene. "You both need to hide. There's a storage chamber under the floor. Go there and stay silent." Lior's voice shook. "But what about you?" Aaron smiled sadly. "I'll handle them. I'm not afraid of questions." He opened the floor hatch and helped Serene and Lior inside. The boy looked up one last time before the hatch closed. "You're good human," he whispered. Moments later, a loud knock echoed through the lab. Dr. Aaron Miles, a robotic voice called. "Galactic Security. Open the door immediately." Aaron wiped his hands calmly and walked to the door. "Just a second." When he opened it, 2 officers in black armor stood there. Their helmets glowed blue, hiding their faces. One of them held up a tablet. "We're investigating an unauthorized use of Council technology. Records show your ID was active in the upper lab sector last night." Aaron kept his face neutral. "That's strange. My access was revoked months ago." The officer tilted his head. "Then you won't mind if we search your premises." Aaron's pulse quickened, but he forced a smile. "Of course. Come in." The officers walked around, scanning walls, consoles, and machines. The hum of their devices filled the silence. Sweat trickled down Aaron's back as he watched one of them near the floor hatch. Just before the officer's scanner touched the metal plate, a loud beep came from his partner's device. "Wait, we've got a stronger reading near the alley," the other officer said. They turned toward the exit. "We'll check that first." Aaron exhaled slowly as the door slid shut behind them. He locked it, his hands shaking slightly. From beneath the floor, Lior's small voice whispered, "They gone?" Aaron knelt down and smiled. "For now, but we have to move soon. It's not safe here anymore." He looked at Serene, who met his eyes with quiet strength. "You risked everything for us," she said softly. Aaron's gaze hardened. "No one deserves to die just because they breathe differently." He stood up, already planning their next step. "We'll leave New Terra tonight. There's a shipyard on the eastern ridge. If we can reach it, I know someone who can help us disappear." But as he turned to pack his things, a soft red light blinked under his table, the small black drone he had missed before. It had followed him back from the lab, and it had just sent a live signal to the Council. Night fell hard over New Terra. The floating towers flickered in the distance like dying candles. Patrol drones hummed across the dark sky, their red eyes sweeping every street. Inside a small, hidden workshop, Dr. Aaron Miles packed his tools in silence. He knew the Galactic Council wouldn't stop searching. The moment that little black drone sent its signal, the law would mark him as a traitor, a human who had given forbidden medical aid to an illegal alien species. He looked at the sleeping form of Serene, her breathing soft but steady, and at Lior, who watched him with wide, worried eyes. Aaron forced a calm smile. "We're leaving tonight." Lior clutched his mother's scarf. "Will they hurt you because of us?" Aaron shook his head. "Not if we move fast. Not if we stay smart." He lifted Serene gently, wrapping her in a thermal cloak. Her new artificial lungs glowed faintly beneath her skin. Still adjusting, she was too weak to walk far. Aaron activated a hovercart and placed her carefully on it.
"She'll rest while we move." They stepped into the night.
The air outside felt heavier than before, as if the entire city was watching. They moved through back alleys, sticking close to the shadows. The sound of patrol sirens echoed in the distance. Every few blocks, Aaron used his wrist scanner to jam surveillance drones. The air smelled of smoke, oil, and tension. "Where are we going?" Lior whispered. "At the East Ridge," Aaron replied. "There's a shipyard there. My old friend works security. He owes me a favor." Lior looked up at him. "You trust him?" Aaron hesitated. "I have to." They turned a corner and froze. A patrol ship hovered above the street, beams of red light scanning the ground. Aaron pulled Lior close and pressed them behind a pile of metal crates. The light passed inches from their faces, sweeping slowly across the alley. Serene's breathing grew faster. The machine inside her chest gave off a faint hum. Aaron held his breath, whispering, "Quiet, please." The ship paused for a moment, then rose higher and drifted away. Lior exhaled shakily. "That was close." Aaron smiled faintly. "Too close." They continued down the narrow path until the glowing towers thinned out and the city began to fade into metal wastelands. Ahead, faint lights shimmered, the eastern shipyard, where hundreds of small vessels waited for off-world travel. But as they approached the gate, Aaron saw something that made his heart sink. Council banners waved above the checkpoints. Armored guards lined the entrances, scanning IDs and ships. Lior tugged his coat. "We can't go there." Aaron clenched his jaw. "We have to find another way in." He looked around and spotted an old cargo tunnel, half collapsed, rusty, and unguarded. "There," he whispered. They slipped inside the tunnel. The air was cold and damp. Sparks flickered from broken pipes. Each step echoed in the metal silence. Then from deep within the darkness came a voice. "Aaron Miles, always running from trouble." Aaron froze. He knew that voice. A tall figure stepped out of the shadows. Commander Rafe, once his closest friend in the Alliance. His uniform gleamed under the dim lights, the council insignia glowing faintly on his chest. Aaron's heart pounded. "Rafe, what are you doing here?" Rafe's face was calm but cold. "I could ask you the same. You stole from a restricted lab, Aaron. You broke every oath you swore." Aaron's eyes darkened. "I saved a dying woman." Rafe took a step closer. "You saved a criminal. You risked human technology for an alien refugee. Do you know what this means?" Aaron's voice hardened. "It means I remembered what being human is supposed to mean." There was silence. The only sound was the distant hum of the city. Rafe sighed. "You were one of the best, Aaron. I don't want to arrest you." "Give them up. Walk away and I can erase your record." Aaron glanced at Lior, who was trembling beside Serene's hovercart. The boy's silver eyes were full of fear and trust. Aaron turned back to Rafe. "If I walk away, they die." Rafe shook his head slowly. "Then you're a fool." Before Aaron could respond, the boy suddenly shouted, "Run!" Serene's body glowed brighter, the artificial lungs inside her reacting to stress. A burst of energy surged from her chest, sending a wave of static through the tunnel. The lights exploded, plunging everything into darkness. Aaron grabbed Lior's hand and pushed the hovercart forward. They ran, guided only by the faint light from Serene's body. Behind them, Rafe's voice shouted orders. "Seal the exits! They're in the lower tunnels!" They raced through the underground path until the tunnel opened into a wide cargo bay filled with unused ships. Aaron spotted an old cargo hauler, dusty but intact. "Get inside," he yelled. Lior climbed aboard, helping his mother while Aaron slammed the hatch shut. He rushed to the control panel, fingers flying across switches. The ship's old engines coughed, then roared to life. Outside, soldiers arrived, shouting and firing stun beams at the hull. Aaron gritted his teeth. Hold on! The ship blasted upward, tearing through the roof in a storm of metal and fire. As they shot into the night sky, the boy clung to his mother, and Aaron whispered to himself, We're not safe yet, but we're free. Far below, Commander Rafe watched the burning trail vanish into the clouds. He tapped his communicator. Track that ship. The moment they land, I want them alive. The stars stretched endlessly outside the ship's cracked window, a river of light flowing through the dark. Inside, the hum of old engines filled the silence. The air smelled faintly of burnt metal and recycled oxygen. Dr. Aaron Miles sat at the control panel, his eyes tired, his hands trembling slightly. He had been flying for 12 hours without rest, dodging patrol scanners and debris fields. Behind him, Lior was asleep beside his mother, Serene. She lay on the narrow medical cot, pale but breathing. Her chest glowed faintly through the thin fabric, the soft rhythmic light of the artificial lungs he had built. Aaron sighed, whispering to himself, We're safe. For now. But deep down he knew safety was only an illusion. The Galactic Council never lost a target, and Commander Rafe knew him too well. His methods, his logic, his roots. He leaned back, staring out the window. I just need a place to hide, somewhere far from Council space. He tapped his map screen, searching. One planet blinked red, Exion 3, an abandoned colony world. Harsh atmosphere, low oxygen. Aaron smiled faintly. Perfect. They won't follow us there. He set the coordinates. The ship trembled as it changed course, disappearing into the cold silence between stars. Hours passed. The hum of the ship became the only heartbeat in the void. Lior woke up, rubbing his eyes. Are we still running? Aaron nodded. Yes, but we're close to a safe place. Lior crawled closer, watching the stars. They're beautiful. Aaron smiled. They always are when you're free to see them. He noticed Serene stirring. Her eyes opened slowly, glowing faintly silver. Aaron, she whispered. He leaned closer. How do you feel? Different, she said softly. Like something is growing inside me. He frowned, checking the monitors. The readings were unusual. Her lungs were producing small bursts of bioenergy. Energy not in his design. That's impossible, he muttered. You're generating power. Serene looked confused. Is that bad? Aaron shook his head slowly. I don't know. He scanned her again. The artificial organs had fused completely with her natural cells. They weren't just replacements anymore, they were evolving. The crystal structure he built from human nanoalloys had merged with andrel biology. The result was something new, something alive. Lior's eyes widened. She's glowing more. Is she okay? Aaron smiled faintly. She's more than okay. She's changing. Suddenly, the ship shuddered. A warning light flashed across the dashboard. Incoming transmission detected. Aaron's heart jumped. No, how did they find us? The screen flickered to life, showing Commander Rafe's cold face. Aaron Miles, he said calmly. You can't run forever. We've tracked your ship's energy trail. The woman you saved, she's emitting a signal. Her new organs are broadcasting frequencies unknown to the Council database. Aaron froze. You mean her lungs? Rafe nodded. They're not just keeping her alive. They're calling something. Before Aaron could respond, Serene sat up sharply, gasping. He's right. I can feel it. Her voice echoed strangely, layered with a faint metallic hum. Something is answering. Aaron turned to her. What do you mean? But before she could explain, the ship's radar beeped. A new contact appeared. It wasn't the Council. It was something else. A massive, shimmering object emerging from hyperspace like a ghost. Its surface looked alive, moving like liquid light. Lior pressed against the window, eyes wide. What is that? Aaron whispered. I don't know. The object hovered silently before them, larger than a city. Then a voice, deep, soft, and ancient, filled the ship's speakers. We have heard her call. Serene's eyes glowed brighter. It's the Andrel beacon, she whispered. The last remnant of my people. Aaron's heart raced. You mean your species is still alive? Tears formed in her eyes. No. The beacon is all that's left in a machine that waits for survivors. My new lungs, they spoke the same frequency. It thinks I am one of them. The massive ship pulsed gently, scanning them with a beam of blue light. The entire cabin vibrated. Lior grabbed Aaron's arm. "What are they doing?" Aaron stared at the readings. "I think they're reading her memories." The beacon's voice spoke again. "Human creation fused with andral life. New harmony detected. Preservation required." Before Aaron could react, beams of light enveloped the ship. Energy surged through the systems. The engines shut down. The lights flickered. Serene cried out as her body began to glow from within, the same pulse as the beacon. Aaron reached for her hand. "Hold on!" She looked at him through the light. "Aaron, it's not hurting me. It's speaking to me." The ship's metal hull began to melt around them, reshaping itself into something organic, smoother, stronger. Aaron watched in awe. "It's repairing us, changing us." Then, as suddenly as it began, the light faded. The beacon vanished into the stars. The ship floated quietly again, but everything felt different. The walls pulsed faintly like living skin. The air smelled cleaner. The controls responded faster, almost as if the ship could think. Aaron looked at Serene, who smiled weakly. "It merged with us." Lior's eyes sparkled. "It made us part of it." Aaron leaned back in his chair, overwhelmed. He had wanted to save one life, and somehow he had created something new, a bridge between two species. But as peace settled over the ship, the radar blinked again. This time it wasn't the beacon. It was the Council closing in fast. Aaron's eyes hardened. They're not going to let this miracle live. He tightened his grip on the controls. Then we'll make them see what humanity really means. The darkness of space trembled with light. The Council warships approached fast, dark silver giants cutting through the void like blades. Inside the living ship, Dr. Aaron Miles stood at the control panel, his hands shaking. Warning lights flashed red across the screen. "They've found us," he said quietly. Behind him, Serene and Lior watched through the window. The glowing trails of the Council fleet painted the stars red. Serene's silver eyes reflected the light, calm but filled with sorrow. "They will not let us go," she whispered. "Not after what we became." Aaron clenched his fists. "Then we'll show them what we are." The ship, once old metal, now part organic, pulsed softly, reacting to his voice. Its living circuits glowed like veins of light, connecting human technology and alien life. It was no longer just a machine. It was something new. Lior looked up, his small voice trembling. "They want to hurt us?" Aaron knelt beside him. "They're afraid, Lior. People fear what they don't understand." The boy nodded slowly. "Then make them understand." Aaron smiled faintly. That's the plan. The Council's main vessel, the Vindicator, loomed ahead. Its commander, Rafe, stood on the bridge watching the glowing hybrid ship on his monitor. "Target in range," an officer reported. Rafe's face was cold. "Prepare the ion cannons." But as the weapons charged, the strange ship began to glow brighter, a soft blue light that spread like ripples through space. "The scanners went wild, sir," the officer said. "Their energy readings are off the charts. It's not a weapon. It's something else," Rafe frowned. "What is he doing, Aaron?" Inside the hybrid ship, Aaron placed his hand on the control orb, now beating like a heart. Serene stood beside him, her lungs pulsing with the same rhythm. "The beacon left a connection in the ship," she said softly. "It listens to me, and to you." Aaron looked at her. "Can you reach the Council's network?" "Make them see?" Serene nodded slowly. "Yes, but it will hurt me." Aaron hesitated. "You've already given enough." She smiled faintly. "You gave me life. Let me give you a voice." Lior grabbed her hand. "No, Mother, don't." She touched his cheek gently. "My love, sometimes to protect life, someone must carry the pain." Her body began to glow, brighter and brighter, as she connected with the ship's living systems. The walls vibrated and a low hum filled the cabin. The stars outside blurred into streaks of light. Aaron watched in awe as Serene spoke in a voice that echoed through every radio, every ship within range. "We are not enemies. We are life, new and united. Look at what we can become together." Her words reached the Council fleet. Inside the Vindicator, Rafe's systems flickered. The screens showed visions, fragments of Serene's memories, her world dying, her people gasping for air, and a human hand reaching out to help. Rafe stood frozen. He saved her. Not for glory, but because it was right. Then one of the council officers shouted, "Commander!" The hybrid ship's energy is spiking. It's unstable. Aaron saw it too. The fusion of human and alien systems was overloading. He turned to Serene. "You have to stop, and it's too much." She smiled through the light. "It's working, Aaron. They're hearing us." The ship shook violently. Sparks flew. Lear screamed as the chamber walls cracked. Aaron grabbed Serene's hand, trying to disconnect her. "You'll die." She looked into his eyes, glowing brighter than the stars. "Then let me die with purpose." The light consumed everything. When Aaron opened his eyes again, the silence was total. The stars looked softer, distant. He was still inside the ship, or what remained of it. The controls were melted, fused into smooth crystal. Serene's body lay still beside him, peaceful, her glow fading. Lior was crying quietly, holding her hand. "She's gone." Aaron's throat tightened. "No, Lior, look." Outside the window, dozens of council ships floated quietly, not attacking, not moving. Their weapons were off. Their lights flickered blue, the same color as Serene's. Rafe's voice came through the comm, quiet and heavy. "Aaron, we saw everything." "The council will stand down." Aaron closed his eyes. "Then let her sacrifice mean something." "It will," Rafe said. "You have my word." The connection ended. Aaron placed his hand on Serene's chest where her artificial lungs had once glowed. "You changed the stars," he whispered. Lior looked up. "What will we do now?" Aaron smiled weakly through the pain. "We keep her promise. We build a world where no one runs, no one hides." He looked out at the stars, brighter than ever. Where being human means helping life, not controlling it. The living ship, now calm and silent, drifted toward the edge of the galaxy. The engines pulsed once more, softly, as if Serene's spirit still guided them. Aaron took the pilot's seat with Lior beside him. "Ready?" he asked. The boy nodded. "Where are we going?" Aaron smiled. "Somewhere new, where she can finally rest." The ship turned toward the horizon of stars and disappeared into the light.